TWM podcast.
Hello, I'm Matty Deller, and this is Best of the Rest, your Friday roundup of the odds and ends in your wrestling week. Before I introduce my usual co-host, let you run through all the admin. This is a TWM podcast, bringing you content 6 days a week, news reviews and interviews in audio form and video form as well, on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Acast, TuneIn, Podbean, YouTube, Deezer, and wherever else you get your pods. If you're listening on YouTube, thank you very, very much for doing so. Please subscribe, turn on that like button, and turn on notifications as well. Hit the like button, turn on notifications. You can turn on the like button if you want to. It depends what it is. It's 2020. I ain't gonna judge you. We're also brought to you by We Love Sport. They're a fantastic app that, in happier and more normal times, they would showcase you near a sports bar that are showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. Get that app in your phone now. Download it from the Apple and Google Play Store. When everything's sorted, that'll be your one-stop shop to find the nearest sports bar and pub and book your front row tickets to WWE's biggest pay-per-views. It'll be like being there, but you have a pint that doesn't cost £1 billion. In the meantime and in between time, you can check out We Love Sport UK and welovesport.co. They're doing some fantastic content over there to keep everyone entertained and occupied. WrestleCrate, they're doing mad things at the moment, and we've got a code that you can use. Use the code TWM Wrestling for up to 3 free items when you sign up to a monthly box at wrestlecrate.co.uk. They have just announced they have got an exclusive item with their deluxe box from the former Universal Intercontinental United States Tag Team Champion and soon-to-be dad, Seth Rollins. So go and check that out at wrestlecrate.co.uk. Sign up with the code TWM Wrestling at checkout to get up to 3 free items with your box. Joining me is notable TikTok star and laughing stock of our own family group chat, Kymmie.
Hi.
I was going to ask you beforehand whether it was a sore subject to bring up your dad roasting you in your group chat that you put on Instagram, but
he just torments me. It's just actually rude. I don't know what I did. I called him a loser because he got excited. One of my friends gifted me an Iron Man helmet because he didn't want it anymore, and I was like, I'll have it. And my dad decided to order the hand as well, so I called him a loser, and then he just decided to make gifs of myself with my head on other people.
Yeah, I was confused by it because he just seemed to roast you for having red hair. So I thought you dyed your hair darker red, and he was like, right, let the roast session commence. So,
no. He just started my sister after me, but I didn't appreciate it.
So it was just on a one dad roast mission.
He's been in a weird mood since he's been working from home.
So he's just, yeah, that's what happened. Maybe he's not getting maybe he's not getting all of his sick burns out at work. So therefore, he's located them in the family. This is why I don't
taking it on us.
This is why I don't have a family group chat, because I would just get annoyed very easily. I don't talk to people in my immediate house most of the time, let alone the surrounding areas.
People.
Anyway, we got a lot to discuss. We got a drama-laden edition of Total Divas, the penultimate episode of Dark Side of the Ring. But first, it's a tournament. Stuff happened in it, and we got a few debuts to discuss. So let's talk about Impact. Impact, the World Title Tournament. It begin as Hernandez and Trey advanced to the semi-finals, defeating Madman Fulton and Rohit Raju, respectively. I will say, on the whole, Impact, the match, all the matches were a lot better than I thought they would be. So the match content was fine. I'm just fed up with the concept of tournaments in wrestling. But again, it's needs must. You either go
I'm just fed up with the fact that it's all men.
Yeah, there's that as well. Considering they literally have someone that could be in the tournament. I know they can't have Tessa at the moment, but they've got people like Havoc, and they've got people like Rosemary that could be in the tournament.
Why could you not do it as you can have a man's tournament and then a women's tournament, and then whoever wins them matches, they go one-on-one.
Yeah, they couldn't have
and then that'd be fair, would it?
They could have 4 men on one side, 4 men and 4 women on the other, and then that makes sense. Madman Fulton and Hernandez was better than I thought it would be. It was a good big man match. They're still doing this whole thing of OVE. They need an adult, and they're not trusted on their own. So now they've got Crazy Steve, who's just being well, I can lead you better. It's better than them just losing for no reason. I did laugh at Jerry Ryan walking up to Crazy Steve and being like, calling yourself crazy is offensive to crazy people, because I guarantee there are hundreds of people like that on Twitter. It's like, this is offensive.
Also, you can't do anything nowadays without being offensive to someone.
I know. That's why I have to constantly be careful. We generally, legitimately had a 15-minute... And I'm not one of those people that is like, people are snuffling. So I'm like, yeah, well, times have changed. People, like, we are more aware of certain things. But at the same time, there's still things we have to turn around. It's like, remember the jokes we used to do several years ago on the podcast? Couldn't do it now. Couldn't get away with that now. And it's not even offensive stuff. It's weird stuff. It's weird stuff. But you know what it is? It's not people. It's our genre of people. I think I wrote down and went, I'm not stepping anywhere near wrestling Twitter, because wrestling Twitter not only is easily offended, they are relentless even when they're in the wrong. So I'm just staying well away. So any jokes we make are just completely random and off the wall. Cheese weasels and all that stuff.
Cheese weasels.
Again, second week in a row that Rohit Raju like cut a fantastic promo, and I'm like, where has this been all the time? But then they had him. But then they had him lose immediately. I'm like, well, why did you put him over so much then? If you're going to have him immediately lose to someone that's barely picked up a win,
well, maybe they're going to like build him up elsewhere.
That would be nice if they were going to, because I like him being a bit more passion.
I like him on the mic. I like it.
Yeah, it's a lot better. Michael Elgin, the less said about him this week, the fucking better. He's going around saying that he's going to take everyone out of this tournament because he doesn't deserve to be in a tournament. It's amazing. He's butthurt that something's happened that he doesn't like. Where have we seen that this week? Michael Elgin, stay off Twitter. You get yourself into trouble. He murdered Ken Shamrock with a concerto, and I just wondered why all Canadians do the concerto. On the flip side, Moose. He was probably the MVP of this entire show, purely for hijacking the Open of Impact, bringing the old TNA guy in, and then taking like out of context clips of interviews to make it sound like AJ Styles and Jeff Jarrett, putting him over. It was really well done and really funny.
It was really well edited. I would give it that.
It was just like, yeah, he's amazing. He's astounding. He's incredible. This is Moose. I just loved it. And then he had a match against Suicide, and I was shocked at how good this match was. It was like the best Moose match. Like we've had
I think it was it's been a bad couple of weeks.
He's not had a great deal of good matches. I mean, the one against Kenjaro 3 months ago was toilet. Me and Joe talked about that. But this was a really, really good match. Whoever is under the mask, they did a bloody good job against Moose. But yeah, I'm all for Moose being as delusional as physically possible and just constantly doing this because it is funny. We did get a debut of two female wrestlers on this, actually. We got Tasha Steelz, who actually, funnily enough, through happenstance and pre-recorded wrestling, wrestled on two separate major TV shows in the same day. She was on NWA and then Impact.
Legend.
She won on NWA but lost to Kylie Rae. Tasha Steelz is signed with Impact, and she's very, very good. I can't say... I like her, but also... if you heard in the during the commentary, they said what her finisher name is, and it's that noise that Cardi B makes that I can't do.
What?
That okay, and when she goes like okay, like that. Yeah, that's the name of Tasha Steelz' finisher. So, and it does amuse me.
Like that, I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know, I can't do it, but
it's hard to do. It's not easy to do.
We did
can't even do it properly.
Kylie Rae did beat Tasha Steelz here, and we did get more Kylie Rae and Susie interaction, and I really just want them two to be a tag team. This would
be an interesting tag team.
This also popped me because Susie thought when he was like, "Hi, I'm Kylie Rae." Like, yes, I'm Kylie Rae. We're like, what's your name? Kylie Rae again. And Susie generally thought her name was Kylie Rae again. She's like, no, it's just Kylie Rae.
Kylie Rae again.
Kimberly on her debut defeated Havoc. Good match. Interesting that they had Kimberly cheat to win, but there's going to be some sort of thing between Havoc and Nevaeh and Kimberly. They're going to do like this whole thing. It's just, I love the fact that Impact's women's roster, apart from Kylie Rae and now Tasha Steelz, it's very goth heavy.
Yeah.
They go heavy on the goth aesthetic. You've got Havoc, you've got Rosemary, you've got Nevaeh. Kimberly's quite gothy, even though she's wears the Disney princessy stuff as well. We get another great vignette from Kiera Hogan because she's now the hottest flame. And then we see Cody Deaner in quarantine, and this was very, very funny. I did enjoy this. where he's just talking about, basically he's like, it's important to keep mental health during quarantine. I talked to my neighbour, his neighbour just flips him off. He calls other wrestlers, but then cuts a promo, which is brilliant, because I love the fact that he's just implying that all wrestlers don't talk on the phone, they just cut promos on how they're going to beat each other up.
That's what happened.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to see you, and then he's like, love you, bye. He's like, God, I missed that man. We get a dance and a DDP yoga montage, and then he wrestles a tree, an invisible man, and a stuffed dinosaur. And I'm like, I don't like the Dinas, but this is oddly entertaining of him just like...
It was.
We get then the North are back in Canada. They had their opponent picked by an unbiased man, aka the ring announcer, who had the internet. And they beat the Schmoes. This one was brilliant, purely because the whole point of the match was that Ethan Page knocked out their opponent, and then they just had him, and they had Ethan Page pick him up and go, quick, I'll get him to pretend to hit me, and then had him just fake brilliant, so funny. And then you've just got Josh O'Donnell being like, I want to have a proper wrestling match. This is
Weekend
stupid.
at Wrestling, did you call it?
Yeah, weekend. I said Weekend at Bernie's the match, but wrestling at Bernie's could also work.
Wrestling at Bernie's, yes.
And Ethan Page, he ended up getting a David Starr-esque intro, which is like, Doc Gallows' favourite wrestler, the sexiest wrestler as voted by Masculine Fisherman magazine, the man of 1,436 old. He's like, that many? He goes, yeah, I wanted more than Jericho and Malenko. I was like, I love Ethan Page so much. Love him so much. I'm still waiting for the day that eventually we get him on an interview. I will be bagsying that from now until the end of time. We do get more drunk Rosemary, who's now talking to the bunny and the stuffed dog, and then Johnny Bravo appears, and they both argue over who misses Tyre the most. And Rosemary says that a tarot card saying she's going to fall in love with Johnny Bravo, and I wrote down, I think she's going to suck his soul, which sounds ruder in context, but they're going to be. That's literally the joke I was implying, and then you just hammered it home. Like I said, like the backstage stuff they're doing. It's really funny. Like, they do some very entertaining... like, the Cody Dean stuff's good. The North stuff is brilliant. And the Rosemary stuff is brilliant because it's Rosemary. If you want to hear more about Rosemary, we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But the in-ring stuff was fine. It was a lot better than the last few weeks. The in-ring stuff has been good. It's just... a tournament doesn't really fill you with excitement. If they went a little bit different, it would have been fine. But yeah, no, this was a good like standalone episode of Impact. It's probably the better ones in the last few weeks. Discounting like Rebellion, the 2-night thing, because obviously that's meant to be a pay-per-view, so it could discount it. But it has been it was one of the better episodes over the last period of these shows.
TWM podcasts are brought to you by We Love Sport, the fantastic app finding you your nearest sports bar showing the latest WWE pay-per-views. We Love Sport has over 400 of the best sports bars and pubs in the UK at your fingertips and allows you to book front row seats, giving you the best views of the action. You can also check out what sports are being shown over the next 7 days, making sure you don't miss a second of the action. Download the We Love Sport app on the App Store or Google Play Store. Follow We Love Sport on all social media platforms at We Love Sport UK and check out welovesport.co.
Dark Side of the Ring, the penultimate episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and this one was focusing on something that we kind of are aware of in our age group, Kim, but not too much. It was about the Road Warriors. It was about Hawk and Animal. Of course, we are wrestling fans. We know who the Road Warriors are, and we have seen various things throughout time. But I kind of like, in our age bracket, which is obviously like 99 to obviously current day, watching wrestling and stuff and not really watching it beforehand, or in that case like 99 onwards, like you kind of forget how big they were. They were kind of just told about this great tag team, but they were like a tag team that was main eventing in a time where tag teams just didn't main event. Yeah. And it's gone. Yeah, it was like, it was really, really interesting insight to all of this. Of course, I've picked out some funny bits from this as well. But it's a really, really interesting thing on the kind of, again, the sad situation that led to Hawk's passing and kind of the not the fall of the Road Warriors, but kind of them not having kind of the send-off that maybe a team like that deserves. The first thing I noticed is, God bless Road Warrior Animal, but he's holding on to that mohawk for dear life, isn't he? There,
Oh my god.
like, there is I know, like, because it's really, because without the when he has the face paint on, he literally looks like just like dad Road Warrior. Like, it's fine. When he's not got it on, you really notice that it's literally like the thinnest strands of hair are making that mohawk in the middle.
He's literally he held on to that mohawk as long as fucking Baron Corbin held onto his hair. Like,
Yeah, it's just, but like, I love the commitment. I've got, in all fairness, he looked like, even with that, he looks cooler than Baron Corbin did with his hair.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's true.
like, he's, at least he's got that mohawk. You can, like, yeah. Wrestlers are weird, we find out, because these two became friends because one of them chopped the other one as they were doing weights, which seems incredibly dangerous.
It is dangerous, but it's
Yeah.
also incredibly wrestling.
We also found out the Road Warrior Hawk won an award as basically being the school bully, and I'm like, why is that a positive thing?
Yeah, I didn't get that. They were like proper praising it, and I was like, that's not a what?
I was imagine like the end of year thing is like, well, class clown goes to this person, and the award for most beatings that have happened in the school, Road Warrior Hawk.
Did you win an award like that?
I won because we only did it in like when I was in like year 11, like obviously end of like senior
that's
school.
what we
It
did.
wasn't a thing like when I was in thingy. So it would have been like high school. I won Gift of the Gab, which is accurate.
Gift
So-
of the Gab. That is very accurate.
Yeah. Did you win anything?
Yeah, I won Most Likely to Be Famous.
Fair enough. TikTok star, so that makes sense. Story checks out.
It does.
On a personal note, I just love seeing Scott Norton or anything, because Scott Norton is literally he is literally the definition of, for me, like, what if someone described a wrestler and they didn't watch wrestling, it's what Scott Norton is. It's just a giant man in a singlet that threw people around and has giant arms and he's just angry.
I mean, it's pretty much everyone's like vision. If someone doesn't watch wrestling, you say, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to wrestling." That's what they picture.
Yeah, it's also like, he looks like, and this is meant in like a loving term, he looks like every single, you know, when you go into like the 99p store or like Poundland and you go to like the off-brand wrestling figures, they will either look like him or a muscled up version of Rey Mysterio. Like, they look both of them. We also find out that Kurt Hennig, Rick Rude, the Road Warriors, Nikita Koloff and Scott Norton were not only from the same state, majority of them lived in the same town and were like growing up together at the same time. That's
crazy.
That's kind of similar to like, I don't really want to compare. It's very similar to, obviously, like a few years ago, the fact that we had like in London, you could say, or like in London, you had like Will Ospreay, Jimmy Havoc, Zack Sabre Jr., Marty Scurll, like all of that. Like, it's one of those. Probably you could say just UK because it's American. We could probably fit the UK in Minnesota. I don't know geography.
I don't think you can.
And then also, did every wrestler in the 80s like just be a bouncer?
It's an easy job, isn't it?
It's like every wrestler, apparently, in like the, again, referencing modern day, every wrestler in like the noughties and tens being a teaching assistant or a teacher. It's just one of those jobs that seem to be a thing for a wrestler. They talk about the Road Warriors training, and they hear about Eddie Sharkey, who seems like the worst trainer ever, because he wouldn't teach them moves or how to throw a worked punch. And if he did, he'd get really angry at them. And I was like, it's just, yeah, that doesn't seem like great. So I'm not going to teach you how to do a drop kick or a slam. I'm just going to teach you mat wrestling, and that's it. So I'm like, it's just, the 80s were weird.
They were a weird time.
We do see the Road Warrior. It was like with like the tight jean jacket and the leather cap, and it was the campest attire I've ever seen. Just, it was, again, so incredibly 80s.
Attire, though.
It was a look. If you ever choose to come back, you should come back literally as the Road Warrior.
Literally the Road Warrior.
Yeah, but not like the 80s one. I mean like that one with like the 80s Village People gear.
Alright, I'm on it.
You're a wrestler. You've done wrestles. Have you ever taken like a Doomsday move before?
I can't remember.
Or have you taken any move where you've had to like do a backflip from a really high height? Or like at least...
No.
Yeah, because that, like, fuck that noise, taking like the Doomsday, because it's just... it's like, I'm going to clothesline you, you're going to do a backflip, good luck if you land on your stomach, because either that or you're landing on your fucking head or shoulders. And
I don't like that move. It freaks me out watching it. Unless you know what you're doing and you can perfect it, it makes me cringe. It makes me cringe as much as the freaking German suplex. I hate the German suplex.
If any move comes with the caveat of it has broken someone's neck before, I wouldn't want to take it. And so, like,
no.
Set out Tombstone Piledriver. No. Doomsday. It has broken someone's neck before. I'm not taking that. We also hear about the Road Warriors, about their stiff style in the ring, and they'd say to the jobbers, sorry about what's going to happen, but we follow a rule which is not in the nuts or give anyone a broken nose. It's fine. AKA the Kymmie A Kiss wrestling technique, from what I've heard.
It is. That was the way I was trained. When I was trained, if you're going to go out there, don't do it on purpose, but don't make it look shit. So if you're going to hit someone, make it connect, but don't like ultimately have an actual fight where you're going to punch him in the face. Like, make it actually connect. And then get backstage and apologise after. Two things. One, you can tell that Kim spent a lot of time under the learning tree of Saraya. just two angry women battering the shit out of each other. And two, have you still got the video of you kicking that guy really hard in the head because he wasn't doing it as he was told? Yeah.
Generally, my favourite. If you have it somewhere, please send it. I want to put it on somewhere on our Twitter because it is.
I'll find it.
It is genuinely one of the funniest things ever because she will still want to tell us whether she slapped the leg or the sound that comes off of her backheeling this guy is legitimate.
It was me slapping my leg. It genuinely was me slapping my leg, but I did actually kick him in the face.
With the timing, it sounds like that you have full-on punted this guy in the face.
In my defence, literally, like a minute before that, the guy gave me a fucking concussion, so I think he deserved it.
Oh, then it's fair enough, yeah. We also found out the Road Warriors talked about how they didn't sign with any promotion, they just went to different places and they made their own deals. So it's quite funny that almost the Road Warriors are pretty much like the original incarnation of like the modern day independent wrestler.
Yeah.
I always loved the story. I knew this beforehand, that Paul Ellering was not only their manager like in wrestling, he was their manager in real life, which is like
it's so lovely,
really clever, but really, really funny. It's like, I will deal with your bookings and then I will go out there and also get paid.
It's intelligent.
I also just love seeing any like gaijin or big wrestler in Japan just twatting fans as they go past.
Oh my god, it's mental, isn't it? Like, imagine that. Imagine doing that in the UK.
Yeah, I know. Like, remember that, actually, no, for example, remember all the shitstorm that happened 3 years ago when Spike Trevay had the nerve to spit champagne in people's faces?
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, it probably kicked off, I remember.
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
Didn't it kick off a little while ago because a wrestler climbed on a chair and accidentally put his leg on someone?
The thing is, though, like, Trent's done that for ages. I think that was just someone that someone didn't like. We obviously had the William Eva stuff from a few like months ago, but he was literally yeeting people at people. So like, the thing is, like, you still get to that. Like, Lance Archer was like spitting water at people in Japan. No one batted an eyelid, and then over here everyone's just like, no, don't touch me.
It's a bit of fun, like, obviously not now with the whole COVID.
Yeah, don't spit in anyone's face during this time.
It's just a laugh. It is just a laugh. I'm not being funny, but I am one of them people that I'm like, if you're going to sit front row, you're going to get in the action. I'm not saying that I expect you to take like a wrestler being chucked at you, but you need to be ready to move.
For example,
like, don't just sit there.
You are aware of the Joe Eddie Dennis story, aren't you? So.
I am aware of the
Joe Joe got beer spat at him by Eddie Dennis because he sat in the front row, and that feud has been going on for 3 years now. We find out that the Road Warrior Hawk got himself involved and quite pally with they kept saying the Japanese mafia. We know what the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza. And I was just like, yeah, that doesn't seem like a very smart idea, does it?
No, it does not.
They talk about the scaffold match. We find out that, like, either Animal Hall had a broken leg, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to do anything with a broken leg, let alone climb 20 feet with the chance that I might fall off and land on that leg.
Mate, I don't know how they cope.
Because also, that's the match where Jim Cornette, I think that might have been the match where Jim Cornette fucked his leg up on a dive as well. Might have been that one, I can't remember.
Really?
Yeah, like, he did, you know the spot they showed where they're all hanging from the scaffold?
Oh, yeah.
And they fall off. It might have been that one, or it might have been the one with the Midnight Express. Oh, the Rock and Roll Express against Midnight Express. He did it, and the Big Bubba, who was the big boss man, was meant to catch him. He missed, and like his leg just went one way, and just ruined ruined Jim Cornette's knee.
No, thank you.
And this is now we catch up to kind of knowing about wrestlers a little bit, because I was very confused when I was younger watching wrestling, and like these guys would get brought up because you would hear Road Warriors and LOD, and I thought that they're like were they the LOD together, and then but they were like the Road Warriors were their name, and I used to get really I used to get them both mixed up all the time, but it turns out it was just a different name in the WWF. Like, but
it's easy done.
But I swear in WWF they would call them both. They would be like the LOD, the Road Warriors, and I'm like, oh, maybe like LOD's like the tag, like the nickname, and then the Road Warriors. I never got it, but I do like. Had you ever heard the story of Vince drunk in a club taking all of the wrestlers' tag finishes?
No. That was hilarious.
Such a, like, I love the idea. He got the story, like, if you've not heard this story, watch this thing, because they only told a little bit of it, but Vince gets pissed drunk and just goes, oi, demolition, give me your finisher, which is like a backbreaker elbow. They do it. Then he goes, heart attack, now. They're in a nightclub. And then he just goes, damn it, Road Warriors.
It's pretty much something one of you lot would do, though, isn't it?
Oh, I've super kicked him. I've super kicked one of my friends in a nightclub before. No, actually, true. One time at a house party, my mate got pissed drunk and gave my friend a Styles clutch on the sofa, like drunk. Oh my God! Doing one of the most dangerous moves in wrestling. He nailed it like perfectly. He did it bang on, and no one got hurt. But yeah, no, actually, it was the coolest thing I've ever done in a nightclub that didn't involve a girl. I ended up, I had like you know, like in nightclubs, you'd have like, they give you like plastic bottles of alcohol. Like the plastic things. And I was drunk and I was messing around, and I managed to throw up like an empty bottle up in the air, like a plastic bottle, and then leant back and super kicked it as it was coming down.
Oh my God.
I was like genuinely so proud of myself. They also talk about SummerSlam 92, and I've watched that a bunch of times, like different reviews and stuff. Mm-hmm. I never clocked how fucked up Hawk is in that match. He is... No. Like, this was talking about, like, the Herb Abrams thing, like, no one noticing that he was on all of the drugs, and I'm like, yeah, how did no one notice that Hawk was just bollocks during that match? We then also talk about the story of Hawk just fucking off to Japan and doing the Aldi Road Warriors with the Hellraisers. I don't know about you, but a lot of this also, I was, like, just watching this going, how did he not die earlier? Like,
he was proper toying with death when he was like... He was on borrowed time. Yeah,
it was just... It's an absolute madness that... It's an absolute madness. Like, he went for so long and did so much in wrestling. Like, wrestling... And, like, he was in the wraps of a ridiculous, like, drug problem. They talk about LOD 2000, and I remember looking back at that, and it was never going to work. And Vince Russo, as much as sometimes people like to... be like, he did this, he did that. The guy also mocked substance abuse.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah. And then pretty much, it's amazing these two things kind of go together, because, like the Herb Abrams thing, like, it looked like the Animal got himself straight, was like, found God, and was doing all this stuff, and then he passes away because his heart couldn't take it anymore. And it's one of those sad things. It's like, you can get yourself clean and you can get yourself sober, but eventually the body gives out, and sometimes it's just not fair. Sometimes it happens in the throes, sometimes it happens when you just think you've got the end, which is obviously sad. I did love the little bit of, like, it sounded like a film where Paul Ellering was like, he found out that the Animal had died. Was it Animal? Yeah, it was Animal, yeah. Oh, sorry, no, Hawk. Sorry, it was Hawk. Apologies. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm getting confused.
Like he found like the shitty black van that he drove the Warriors about in the 80s and drove it to Hawk's funeral. Like, he's like, we're going 55 miles an hour, but we're going in the van because that's the thing we went into. And it's like something out of a movie. And then, like, the other thing as well is like with the UWF one last week, it's mad seeing like all these big tough old wrestlers just like, this is 15 years like later, but it still affects them to the point where they're just breaking down talking about it on camera.
Yeah.
It's just it's a fascinating insight to obviously a very, very sad end to a tale. But it's great if you want to kind of learn a little bit more about something that a lot of people of our age will know of, but won't have lived through. Like these guys were really, really big. To the shock of no one, everyone knows that. But to talk about like how these guys broke the mold with so many things, like being a tag team that was a main event, being pretty much the prototype for modern independent wrestling with all this stuff. Yeah, really, really good. Next week's the final one of this run of Dark Side of the Ring, and it is a doozy.
Yeah, mate.
It's covering Owen Hart, and that,
mate,
like,
I'm gonna cry. I just know I am already.
It's gonna be pretty much I imagine it's gonna be pretty much going back to the opening week with the Benoit one. Like, it's gonna be rough to watch. Like,
yeah,
everything in between's been kind of quite simple, not quite simple, but quite easy to watch, apart from maybe the snooker one. The snooker one did look like it was a rage inducing to like see the obvious cover up and stuff, and the Dino Bravo one. But this Owen Hart one, I imagine, is going to be an enthralling but a difficult watch, definitely.
TWM Podcasts have joined forces with WrestleCrate, the original and best monthly theme, monthly wrestling subscription service to bring you a fantastic deal. If you use the code TWM Wrestling when you sign up to a monthly subscription at WrestleCrate.co.uk, you will receive a free item in your first month's box. Then, if you stay for another month, you'll get a second free item. And then, if you stay for a third month, you guessed it, we'll give you a third free item. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. WrestleCrate brings you the best swag from the biggest companies and names in the wrestling world. We're talking t-shirts, photos, pins, DVDs, vinyl figures, and loads more from WWE, Progress, Shakara, NXT, Fight Club Pro, and loads more. That's WrestleCrate.co.uk and use the code TWM Wrestling for up to free items, all thanks to WrestleCrate and TWM.
Before we delve into Total Bellas, we have some breaking news. Kim's been running the numbers.
We have some breaking news.
And she's looked at how many UKs we can fit inside Minnesota.
So, if you start at the bottom of the United Kingdom, say Bournemouth, it will go all the way up to Perth, and that's the height you can fit of the UK Minnesota. But width-ways, you'd have to go from, where's that? Just like Swansea to probably Leicester.
So pretty much you can fit half of the UK in Minnesota.
Yeah.
There we go.
Pretty much.
I imagine people are on tenterhooks for the last 10 minutes during the end of that Dark Side of the Ring review, wanting to figure out how many UKs you can fit in Minnesota. Now you know. Let's talk about Total Bellas.
I'm using my work laptop for this. They're going to be like, what the fuck are you Googling?
It's important business. We see all the Brie Bryan and Nikki Artem stuff from the few weeks. And this week, it's Bella versus Bella in a Bella-off. No one said that anyone wished they died in the womb. Artem, we are come off, basically, we're coming off the cliffhanger from last week where Artem arrives as Nikki is about to take the pregnancy test. So Artem arrives and Mum immediately leaves, making it look like that something's happened because she's just like, I have to go now. Goodbye.
Oh, my phone is ringing. Oh, bye.
Nikki reveals the pregnancy test and she goes to take the pregnancy test. And I have a big issue with this next clip. I believe we've had this before.
We have had this.
We then see a shot of Nikki Bella peeing. Why is this on TV?
How is this? Well, I'm not even going to say what. Like, how is it? Like, why is it on TV? No. How is it on TV? Like,
true.
Is this not?
True story. I was watching this downstairs earlier on. I was writing notes. My brother walked past as he was walking the dogs, and he looked at me and goes, "You watch some weird stuff on TV." And I eventually went, "I know. I'm writing this down now." And we're just like, and we both just went, why have they got this? Because they cut away immediately after she finished it. So they literally just showed, they didn't show like the whole conversation of them peeing while she's peeing. They showed a extended shot of Nikki Bella peeing on a stick and then cut away the second it finished.
Just went, bye.
Someone in E has got a pee fetish. Someone's a pervert. We find out that Nikki is not pregnant. Which is, obviously, I thought this is where it began, but apparently it doesn't. Artem is a bit sad, and Nikki is relieved, because Nikki says she's so busy and it's not the right time. And then I just thought about, if she explained this all to Artem, he wouldn't look so bummed.
Yeah, but obviously they're not going to do that.
Because they don't talk. It's just, I just watched that and was like, if you turn around and went, my life's so busy right now, I don't think it'd be the right time for a baby. But, like, we'll see what happens. She just goes, oh, I'm so relieved. And I was like, well, I would have liked a family. And she just goes, yeah, but I'm relieved, bye. And it's just, I'm like, use your words.
Yeah, Matthew, it's fake, darling.
I know, but it still aggravates me. Generally aggravates me. This is what I do with Dragon's Den. I know loads of that stage, but I still scream at them, being like, you're an idiot! That is a terrible sales pitch! We see a Bella Fitness montage, and Brie discuss their distance issues with Bryan to Nikki. And then Brie talks about what she wants out of life, and she's unsure. And then Brie asks if Artem is a rebound, and she goes, of course he's not.
He is.
We then see something I think every dad has done in the last 5 to 6 years, and that is go on YouTube to watch a video on how to braid a girl's hair.
Do you know what's funny? My dad always used to do my hair. My mum can't do my hair. My dad has braided my hair since I was a kid.
Oh, I know. When I have a kid, I'm going to be one of those. You know that guy on like TikTok or Instagram that did the thing where he just like sucks the hair into a vacuum?
Oh, the Hoover.
I'm going to be one of those. Like, come here, Dyson's here. Hold on.
That hurts, you know. I've tried it.
Done.
It hurts.
So he uses Brie as a practice doll, and he discussed their lack of intimacy. And he makes a very good point, where he brings up that Brie just can't go 5 minutes without bringing up her sister. But then Bryan calls it out, and then Brie starts being awkward. Last week I remember saying that these guys they're not reading from the same page, they're not even reading the same book. I've gone with that analogy, and at the moment I'm saying that Bryan and Brie are not even in the same library. They're
checking out books in different libraries.
They are in separate libraries at the moment. We hear then Nikki and Artem in the guest bedroom talking about their sex life, and we see way too much PDA, as is with these two constantly. We watch them then go into the bathroom to go have totally real sex. You know, like on Ms. and Mrs.
Completely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. In the back of the car, yes. That was...
And again, once again, because no one was peeing, so we didn't see anything. We then see Brie, Nikki, Bryan, and Artem talking in some restaurant. Artem is heading to London for some sort of weird dance world record. It was the most weird. It's like, oh yeah, he's going for this stepping world record. He's the champion, and he has to go watch the person do. I don't know. And then they bring up that Bryan and Artem should hang out more, and Artem offers the vegan fishing. And Bryan literally no-sells him, but for a valid reason, and then literally vegan heel Daniel Bryan comes out as everyone sits there and goes, this isn't a promo on SmackDown, Bryan, please shut up.
Calm your tits, mate. It's not that big a deal.
We then find out that Nikki's house has been postponed. Awkward. Because then Brie just goes, we'll stay at ours. And Bryan's like, well, for how many weeks? And Brie just goes, yeah, no, that's fine. We then get, on the way back, Bryan versus Brie argument, round 2. Because Bryan brings up their lack of intimacy, and then Brie and Bryan have the most passive-aggressive argument I've ever seen. This point, they're not even in the same library district. They couldn't even...
They're in different fucking states, mate.
Like, you know what? If somehow Bryan walked into the same library as Brie, he couldn't use that library card. That's for another district, my friend. You're going to have to go to the other reading district. No chance. We then hear that Artem is doing wardrobe stuff, and Nikki is suggesting all of the worst bro time ideas ever. And I was sitting there just screaming, going, why not? Why don't you both just discuss performing? You're both performers. He's a dancer. You're a wrestler. Discuss the art of performance. I imagine that you guys can have a very in-depth conversation about the art of playing to a crowd.
He kind of wants to make them look like they're an awkward couple that don't talk. They just kind of sit there like, yeah, should have sex, yeah, all right. Yeah.
It's just, it's so stunted. It's just ridiculous. The Bellas are getting ready for something, and then for modelling. Sorry, not something. Artem FaceTimes Nikki, and they discuss pregnancy. And then Nikki starts talking about wanting a baby, but she's unsure. And they discuss having babies later in life. And then Nikki talks about a body clock, and she's worried that she can't have kids. Daniel and
How old are the Bella twins?
35? I think they said she's 35 during this season, so she's like 36.
Oh, you know why? She'll be high risk
for
pregnancy.
Oh, I don't understand like the
if she's 36, as soon as you go over 35 and you get pregnant, your pregnancy becomes high risk.
Oh,
because you're older.
My response would be, I don't understand pregnancy. It makes it sound like I don't know where babies come from. I do. I meant like I don't understand what the high risk thing meant.
Belly buttons. You pray to the school.
You'll wait for the stock to arrive. Daniel and Birdie discuss bears because Daniel Bryan just loves bears. I don't know why. Brie Bella reveals their calendar is worse than Bryan's bubble colouring. They have no time for dates, and then Bryan just pretty much just goes, well, it'd be great if I wasn't fourth in our relationship, or Birdie literally just fucks their calendar up. That was the best part. Birdie's almost just being like, there is no chance Mum and Dad are dating, so I'm just going to colour over this.
I'm done with this shit, bitch. You ain't dating now.
Brie's in Nikki's kitchen, and we get, but then Nikki Nikki is in Brie's kitchen and Brie comes home early. Apologies, I've written that down wrong. Nikki and Brie have this ridiculous passive-aggressive argument. They're just like, oh, you could have told me you're coming back. Oh, you ate Birdie's turkey. And they just then start calling each other a bitch.
That's pretty much what sisters do, though. In all seriousness, that is a proper sister thing to do.
And Brie literally transfers all of her frustration from not having a good hard shag in a while onto Nikki Bella. And then what does Nikki do? She did with Artem, immediately goes on the defensive and just goes, well, fuck you, fuck this, I'll get an Airbnb, I'm leaving.
I'm out, bitch.
Which is just, yeah. This was more entertaining than a feud in WWE, to be honest, and it was only a single segment. Don't blame them, blame the writing. The writing's much better on this than it is on WWE. Brie and Bryan go to, I think, a garden centre?
It looked like a garden centre. I would go with garden centre. Do they have garden centres in America?
I think they have, like, garden shops. They're not, like, garden centres. I don't know. Let us know. Oh, you know what? We should probably, we have several Americans, but there is one in the podcast group. We should ask Smiley, do they have garden centres? And
I bet she goes, what the fuck is a garden centre?
It's like when I had a conversation with friend of the podcast, Katie Guital, independent wrestler in America, and she explained to me what condos were, and also why I explained to her why moving companies aren't a thing over here. Like, because they're a big deal in America.
Oh yeah, they're a big deal in America.
You don't get moving companies over here. Brie asked Bryan to make an effort with Artem, and then Bryan's like, well, you haven't got time for me, and now you want me to make friends of Artem, and just basically it's just incredibly sarcastic to Brie, but does it via Birdie. Which is, it's like, Mummy wants Daddy to stay with Artem and not hang out with her. And then my favourite bit about this is Brie just goes, what do you think about this? And he goes, I'm busy right now, I'm being kicked by our daughter. And I'm like, Bryan, use sarcasm, it's super effective. Birdie did twat Brie with some bamboo. She's hardcore. She's going to be a deathmatch wrestler when she's older. Decided.
Hell yeah.
Artem and Nikki go to dinner and they discuss her ponytail. Nikki decides to basically pose with her food for Brie to make her jealous. Artem, the only sane one on this show, says, you guys should talk. And Nikki asked, would Artem stay with her if she couldn't have a kid? And he says, I don't know. He goes, because I don't know what's going to bring. I would like a family, but we don't know what's going to happen. They discuss having kids.
That pissed me off.
What Artem said, or in general?
What Artem said. Honestly, are you going to turn around to someone that you are apparently in love with and say, I don't know if I'd stay with you if you couldn't have kids? Are you on crack?
I think it's one of... I can see where you're coming from, but then I can also see his point of view, because he did kind of explain himself after, and he was like, I'm such a family-oriented person, and it would be so devastating if I knew I couldn't like have a child of my own, that I don't know how I would react. So I think his I don't know was like, I don't know about it. He's like, I don't know, because it's such a like I think wide-ranging it's such a wide-ranging possibility that he's like, well, yeah, that's like almost Nikki sitting down and being like, if I got a terminal illness, would you marry someone else? He's like, well, I don't know, like, this possibility has never really ranged in my brain, so I could see why people, I think I think it was really poorly edited, this bit, because it made it seem like he was like, I don't know if I'd stay with you, to be honest. When in reality, I think it was more of a, I don't know, because that's such a big question to ask. I don't know how I would feel in the current time. Maybe we would be together for long enough that I'd be like, I'm okay with it, let's look at another option. Or would he be like, well, we're only been here for a short time, and he doesn't know whether, like, resentment was, like, I feel like it was poorly put together. I can see his point, but I can see why people would get annoyed as well. However, Brie then says what did she say? Her talk is clicking, which amused me. And then the waiter spills all of her red wine right down her top. So that top's ruined, isn't it? That dress is completely ruined now.
No, actually, you can get red wine out with white wine. The waste of white wine.
And then
depends how much you want the top.
And then Nikki Bella does the most relatable thing I've ever seen, which is she blames herself and then goes, that was actually the waiter's fault, and he leaves. Everyone's done that at a restaurant.
Everyone does that. Everyone does that. It wasn't even my fucking fault. Why the fuck did I want?
Yeah, he's like, oh, don't worry, no, it was my accident. And he walks over and goes, actually, no, that was your fault. We then get to Brie and Brian in the kitchen, and Brian makes a grand gesture. He plans a trip. Then but Bella's mum's going to look after Birdie. He wants to make an effort, and then Brie fucking ruins it by being passive-aggressive.
It's because she hasn't had sex.
Yeah, and then saying that, yeah, what was, generally, it's a random thing. It's from a UK show called 2 Pints of Lager and a Packet of Crisps, and it's generally a phrase that always stays with me when there's a particular person that's quite uppity. So I think they turn around and go, have you always got a permanent stick up your ass, or is it because you haven't had a good hard shag? And
mate, this is that program's on TV now.
This is literally what the problem with Brie at the moment, and he's saying that she's more honest than he is. And then I wrote down marriage upset, but I'm not sure what that meant. So they ruined the moment.
They're just having a spat.
Yeah, they had a spat. And I wrote down they're back in the same library, possibly in the same genre section, but they're not on the same book yet.
No, they're not there yet.
We then see Brian and Artem build shit together. They bond basically over sarcasm and how ridiculous it is that Brie wants a fucking daybed to do meditation on. Birdie then accuses Brian of the heinous act of needing to go poo-poo.
How dare.
And then a wild Nikki appears out of nowhere.
She pulled a John Cena.
Are you sure about that? I also thought she ended up, she'd go there. She generally looked like, do you know the neighbour from Home Improvement?
Yes.
That would be on the fence.
Oh my god.
That would be it. Nikki then throws shade, and then again Brian just being the sarcastic MVP, realising that Brie's not listening. And he goes, I'm going to talk to my sister. And then she goes, okay, I'm just going to hand Birdie this drill. And she goes, wait, what? She goes, you weren't paying attention to what I was saying. And I was like, I love Brian is such a sarcastic. He knows, he's like, I'm trying here, and Brie's not paying attention. I'm just going to be a sarcastic dick.
Just going to be a dick.
Oh, it's so funny. Brie and Nikki then sit on swings like this is literally the Gilmore Girls, and they apologise to each other. All the girls swing, and all is right with the world. But next week...
Hey, boy.
Nikki's house is ready, and Artem wants to go to the next level.
Dum, dum, dum.
I bloody love Total Pass. It's so good.
It's so shit, but it's
so good. That was Best of the Rest for this week. You learned a lot, and you learned some geography as well, so what's not to like?
Yeah, boy.
If you want to get in touch with us, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at TWMWrestle, twitch.tv/TWMWrestle. We've been doing stupid crap on Fire Pro on a Wednesday night, so come and hang out with us. Also, we do... Also, we do predictions on there for WWE pay-per-views. We are doing 2 streams next week. We're doing Piss Around on Fire Pro, and then we are going to sim AEW Double or Nothing on Friday.
I don't get invited to these, so I get left out.
No, have you got a PS4?
Yes.
Then, yes? What was that, please? Then you can then come hang out with us. We don't play, we just sim Fire Pro and make stupid commentary over the top. The invitation is there. Come hang out with us on Wednesday or Friday, Kimberly, and provide silly commentary for our matches with Disco Cesaro.
It'd be better on a Friday, because I normally drink on a Friday night, so it'll be well fun. Brilliant.
You can come and sim Double or Nothing with us on a Friday. At twm.news, we've got great stuff about Ring of Honor, about Dark Side of the Ring. I've not had a chance to read it yet. I've been really busy this week. It's literally sitting on my desk waiting to read. But you can go check out Shirley's review of the Bella Twins book. She actually, brilliantly, has done very little to no spoilers in it. So you can check it out, read the review, and then go read the book and really not miss out on any content from within the book. And it is Bella Twins recommended. Thank you, Brie and Nikki, for the retweet. We've also got a review of the Undertaker documentary and, of course, stuff for Dark Side of the Ring as well. So go check all of that out at twm.news. On podcast, starting on Monday, it is the brand new series called Anything But Wrestling, where we talk to wrestlers about anything but wrestling. Episode 1 is when I sat down with Millie McKenzie and spoke about all sorts of random crap, so go and check that out. If you're a fan of Impact, Sunday we've got another interview come out. It came to us very late doors. Shout out to Impact UK for getting us in late doors with this. You can listen. TWM Talks. Shirley sat down with the Demon Assassin Rosemary. I'm so jealous she got to do that. It's a really, really good interview. A nice 20-minute interview talking about her career and all other stuff. So please go check that out. That will be out on Sunday. Kimberly, social medias.
Yeah. At Kymmie A Kiss on everything.
On all of the things. TikTok.
All of the things.
Go do what
I actually plugged TWM on TikTok the other day.
Thank you.
So if we didn't get like new followers, I went on a live and I mentioned it. So if we didn't get any new followers, I'm going to go back on live and tell them that they can leave me alone.
Delete, unfollow me now, you cowards.
Unfollow me now.
Yeah. Also check out our Instagram, because we've been putting some more new stuff up there as well as dank memes. So go and check that out. We are at TWM Wrestle. I am Matty ID. Stay safe. Wash your hands. We love you all. That. Bye.